Hello, YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dave, and I am the artist behind Chrono Fine Art. And today I'm going to teach you how to make exact cutout copies of your reference photo that's going to match your canvas, the size that you want, every time without any clipping or cropping or missing of any details whatsoever. In my past videos, I showed you how to do this with a online program called Rasterbator, where it automatically cuts out portions of a large scale image so that you can print it out on normal sized pieces of paper, tape it together to make a large poster, which is what we're going to do because our canvas is 16 by 20. And I do this myself because I find it to be the most exact way of replicating your image so that it's the same size every single time. Rasterbator does a great job for free, but it does have an error. It does clip or crop sometimes, it misses things that you might not otherwise want. It makes things a little bit shorter, maybe sometimes a little bit longer, because you can't really scale the image to the exact size that you want. When you're printing, you can only change the number of pages that you want to go vertically or horizontally. And for that, it doesn't really necessarily um, work for me every single time. Sometimes I need things to be exactly the same size as the canvas that I want it printed on. So here we are. We are going to be using the same reference photo that we used in my last two videos and the same that was used in Matt Philleo's Acrylic Fall Portrait Challenge. And uh, we are going to be printing on or printing it out to be on the same size canvas, which is a 16 by 20 portrait. And we can check that by going up to image, canvas size, and it should say 16 by 20 here for you. Now, the premise behind this is that we're going to make a grid that's going to show us where the 8-inch mark is, and it's going to be a square. Uh, Now, the purpose of me choosing to only go with an 8-inch square is that, uh, get rid of that. Let's not do that. Okay, so let's start by creating a grid that's going to show us an 8-inch square line. So for that, we're going to go up to Edit. We're going to go down to Preferences. We're going to go to Guides, Grid, and Slices. And here we'll be met with a grid area where we can change certain areas. And for this, we're going to change the color to red. I chose red only because it primarily shows up on any type of background color you might have or whatever photo your reference is. In our case, it's mainly going to be black and white because that's how we create our sketch outline. And we're going to make sure that every grid line is at an 8-inch square and only one subdivision, which means we're only going to have one square for every 8-inch square. So the reason that I choose to have this set at 8 inches and not 8.5, which we all know is the actual size of a paper we're going to be printing on, is because I like to have at least a half an inch that will not go into the bleed area that a printer automatically cuts out of anything that it prints to make sure that it doesn't destroy the heads, the print heads, or make a mess of your printer because it's actually bleeding off the page. So we're going to make this a little bit shorter. So we're going to say okay to that. 8 inches is perfectly fine. And you're not going to see anything here until we view it. So we're going to go to view, we're going to go to show, and we're going to go to grid, and bam, there we are. There is our grid. You'll notice up here we have two rulers, one here, one here. This starts at 0 inches and goes all the way to 16 inches, which is the size of our canvas. And again, on this side from 0 inches to 20 inches, which is the size of our canvas. And these rulers are going to be very, very important. And we'll see why here in a second. So we are going to cut each piece of paper that we have that we're going to print on of this reference photo to 8 inches wide by 10 inches long. And we're going to tell that by the 10-inch rule mark here on the left. So let's go ahead and make sure that your selection rectangular marquee tool is chosen. We're going to go up here to the 8-inch mark. We're going to try to get make sure we're on this as perfectly as we possibly can. And we could tell that because part of that little crosshair that you see will somewhat disappear. I'm going to left mouse click. I'm going to drag all the way down until the ruler on the far left shows that I'm at the exact 10-inch mark. And I'm going to let go. I'm going to right click anywhere in that box and I'm going to choose new layer via copy. Now we're going to do that for every side, making sure that we have every piece done. And so to do the next one, make sure you are on the background layer, because if you're only on this layer, you are not going to choose any pixels because there is really nothing on this side. So make sure you're always on the background when you're going to cut out a new piece. Go back to that 8 again. Now we're going to do the right side here. So I'm going to make sure that crosshair is perfect. Left mouse click, drag all the way down to the 10-inch mark that you can see on the left. And once I'm on that 10-inch mark, that's going to be perfect, or as perfect as I could possibly get it. I'm going to let go of that mouse button. I'm going to right mouse click again. I'm going to say layer via copy again. And we're met with another layer. Again, we're going to go down and do this 2 more times, one for the bottom left and one for the bottom right. This time I'm going to start at the 10-inch mark, which is right about here. I'm going to left mouse click, drag all the way to the 8-inch here, down all the way to the 20. Thankfully, we're only met with that, and it fits perfectly. 2 tens is 20. Let go, right mouse click, layer vert via copy, and then select your background again. And we're going to do the bottom right hand side here. Make sure you're at the 10-inch mark. Make sure my crosshairs is on that 8-inch line. Now, this is one of the reasons why maybe Rasterbator is better for some people, because not everybody is as interested as doing this. And, let's be honest here, it's not always necessary because we're only doing this as a tracing guide. We're not really doing this to trace an exact replica because we're going to end up painting over it anyway. And here we go, dragging all the way down to the bottom. This is my last one, bottom right. And you can see here a little bit, if I zoom in, that I'm pretty well right on that line. And that's the way we want it. So I'm going to right click, lay via copy, and that is all of them. Now, if I let unhide or unshow this layer, you'll see any parts in this image that I might have missed. So I'm going to get rid of those guidelines and go show grid. And if you see any parts in here where there's a line through it, you know you missed a small piece and you might want to redo it. Here, I didn't miss anything, so I'm happy with that. Now we're going to print each section. So to print each section, it's just as simple as anything else. What we're going to do is we're only going to show one piece at a time. So we're going to hide everything else except for that one layer that we're working on. And I'm going to automatically select this piece by holding down my control key on a PC or command on a Mac, left mouse clicking on this little bitmap here in the right layer section. That's going to select it automatically for you, as you can see here. Now we're going to want to crop that piece by going to image, crop. That's all we have. Let's print that piece, file, print. And you'll see here how it's off a little bit to the side. Each one is going to be like that. The right will be on the right side too much. The bottom will be down here. So all you want to do is drag that until it's center in your print box. Now you'll see here these little horizontal lines that are going through. This is your printer's bleed area. This is the area that it's not going to print. So if we did an actual 8.5 by 11 cutout of a layer, we're going to be missing this little bit on both sides. And when you have multiple pages, that's a lot of detail that's missing. So when you end up taping these pieces together, you're going to have gaps in your image and you're not going to like it very much. Or alternatively, if you actually do paste them together, then you're going to have a reference photo that's printed, or that you're going to be tracing on top of your canvas, that the areas don't match, and that's not going to be good because that's exactly what you're trying to try not to do when you're what that's take three, because that's the entire purpose of doing this, is to make sure that you have everything lined up exactly the way your reference photo shows it. So here we are. We have that in there perfectly. We're going to hit print. Alternatively, what I like to do is go up to my print settings. I like to change my paper quality to draft, black and white. That way I save on a little bit of ink as I go. I'm just going to hit cancel because I don't need to print this. I already did it in my previous video. So go ahead and print that, hit cancel. Now you want to get all your other layers back, and to do that, you want to undo the last step, which is your cropping step. Now you can do that by doing edit, undo crop, or you can hold down your control key or command on a Mac, tap the letter Z, and that undoes it for you. Now I'm going to undo that layer because now we're onto our second layer, and I'm going to show that by clicking the little eye, hold down my control or command on a Mac, left click in there to get my bounding box, crop that as well, image, crop, and then we're going to print that piece. File, print, make sure we move that into the printable area that we want, make sure everything's in there nicely. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you do want to see these lines. Go ahead and hit print. That's your second out of four. Hide that, Control Z. We want to make sure that we undo that crop that we just did, hide that layer, view the next layer, Control left click, crop that image, crop, print it, file, print. Make sure that that's nice in the middle, and it is. We're going to hit print, and we're going to go on to the next one. Edit, undo crop. We're going to hide that. We're going to make the next layer visible. We're going to make sure we are on that layer. Control left click. Shows the bounding box. Image. Crop. File. Print. And there we have it. Our last piece printed. Now, of course, when we're done printing them all, we have them all in front of us. We're going to cut these lines out. Make sure that we cut just the image the way it is. Nice and perfect. We're going to tape it together using Scotch tape on the top of the image, only on the face of the image. You never want to tape the bottom of the image, and that's because when you do add your medium to it, whether it be pencil, charcoal, chalk, um, paper, whatever you're going to use for your tracing medium, if you do have tape on the bottom, it's not going to stick to the tape, and you're not going to actually have any area that you can trace where that piece of tape is. So you always want to make sure that you do Scotch tape the top of it, put your medium chalk on the bottom of it, lay your piece together reference photo on top of your canvas, make sure it's lined up the way you want, trace over it with a red pen, and enjoy your painting. Again, guys, I really appreciate your support and stopping by, watching my videos. Please like and subscribe if you find this useful. Hit that little bell there so you're notified of any new videos that I may upload in the future. Again, if you have any questions, comments, and concerns, please feel free to email me, contact me in any way that you want. My links are in the description below, or you can leave a comment and I will try to get to everybody as soon as possible. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Have a great Enjoy your week, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and we will see you on my next video.